I've let a few pass the last couple of days. I've just been sitting back watching and listening a little bit. Let a few of the bunnies get by. Usually I play them, but I just don't sit in here and make the video about it. But basically here, fusion reactors, quantum spec, pegged on the numbers. Obviously the Democrats love it, and then they hate it. Jim's in the war room against this guy over here for what the time T numbers would represent and how to actually grammatically use that, given one of the SEALs out there for land nav watching Air Force One unload Princess Peach.
President Biden acknowledging that his Build Back Better bill will need more time.
Now, with that in mind, I still agree with the Bernoulli's play on the infrastructure itself. You gotta actually have that graph out there. Well, what's this guy do? Obviously not fucking run people down for security force around here about what the fuck this dude's doing.
Leader Schumer and I are determined to see the bill successfully on the floor as early as possible.
Two-phased, right? Once it gets past that gate, that's done. Everything in there's dead. I tell you off of that security defense stock right there.
Joining me now, South Carolina Congresswoman, House Transportation and Infrastructure, House Oversight, and House Veterans Affairs Committee member Nancy Mace.
Given the job, you come in, you do the recon, you do the ROTC, you mind the desk. Because I could personally, you have 880. Let me tell you, that's fine. I'll tell you later on whether you overdone and need to do X from here, because it would be the readjustment and normalization. That if you don't do it from there, E2, that's going to stretch out your T numbers for the infrastructure bill that I give you while we're talking about the bones. So if the job poses gravity, what points does it give you the pressure? Obviously during the day, let's get up in the morning, do the basic gravity stuff, some negative numbers. Let's get to the positive for the moment here and say, well, I get paid for this if I get the cling in the bucket for this object, this chronosphere, or not chronosphere. They just had this probe hit the sun or go through the atmosphere of the sun, a couple million degrees temperature, 1,000 degrees, something like that. I think it's the coronosphere. And pose some index to what the fuzz may represent at that black hole level, even though it's hydrogen. Clearly. But do you know what kind of hydrogen? Jupiter out there. Somebody hit Jupiter. What was it today? Oh, Tucker the other night or something. Oh, Jupiter, Florida. Jupiter, Florida. Liquid hydrogen, right?
It's popular with Americans on both sides of the aisle. But this is what happens when you refuse to work together, refuse to reach across aisle to work together.
As of right now, I've been working the border on Texas. I was like, tell the governor to pull a third out of his pocket, put it to the table for everybody in town, start picking out hotels, and make Mexicans do a basic brief on. I don't need them to know English to do the SAW program and understand the calculus of meth addicts or heroin or American soldier, obviously out of the lot, and the spectrums of how the separator the cyclotron on a straight line and get pretty fucking loopy running a border build of just figuring out where the chains and rails go.
And I've said this all along.
And we are here
Democrats really behaved as if they had.
Because if you did, you'd dig real fucking deep, and Tucker wouldn't give you so much shit for breaking the masquerade back down to the regular physical gravity, the M1, the M2, and the M4. Here we're going to talk about proving man and woman in a job for equality, and Kate Jenner over there out swimming everybody on the board. And that being the shadow problem of the black hole of it all being pretty fucking fuzzy, and whether how I have to bang that bunny to figure out those moves.
One or two people just stop everything.
Like I said, to me, it comes in class. You hit the recruiter station like, well, you're probably good, but this is still town, rabbit pop. This is still graffiti written on the wall for costs of fuzz in the field theory that defines the full mass of general relativity given the structure that we have, because checking the moon's distances isn't just one and done. It's a practice to do it that condenses a lot of different studies in that form of finding that rabbit, and internal lattice structuring, amplification, how you enrich a piece of metal, the black body problem on heating it. Heat is the index now, what temperature and time to distance or value of microwaves in a microwave that actually work on pulse wave over how the system works so it doesn't blow the breaker or something, and all the electrical shielding and EM noise, how those flips could alter some square wave in the function to create a negative feedback loop or scatter pattern when you see everybody on the ground just get wild.
I believe it's incumbent upon us.
And then you kind of mark those things and you say, well, how fast? What's fast about them? You know, and again, back to the border and paying a third on that, like that, for 2 pounds a week, 2 pounds of burley, you put you on a short for the long game instead of playing some gnarly stuff. You know, and then you get your local clique going, your, who you got there, a couple of drug lords back in the day, Mexico, one, I can't think of his name right now, but about, you can't have just immigrants coming up flooding the farm because it creates an inflation problem. I can't remember his name, but anyways, in there, it creates a problem in the mill. Now, in itself, here's the stone mill out back. It's going to be stone and wood out here. There might be some local gas stations, but that's going to be mostly the husbandry of things in town, or the region of that area. So you go belly go hunting and stuff out there, and obviously Philadelphia, you take a garbage bag and a few $1,000s and you clean up the streets first, and then they'll get used to it. They'll keep coming back to it, and you'll have drinking Kool-Aid and marshmallow experiment.
I've got an idea.